Hi everyone, today we'll be talking about slope. Slope is the change in horizontal distance over the change in vertical distance. It's also known as a rate of change. We have four types of slope. When we see a line that is going up and to the right, we say it's going uphill, and we say it has a positive slope. If we see a line that is going down and to the right, we say it's going downhill, or has a negative slope. When we see a horizontal line, we say that it has a zero slope. And when we see a vertical line, we say that it has an undefined slope. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to plot these 2 points, and we're going to draw a line through the points, and we're going to tell whether the slope of the line is positive, negative, zero, or undefined. So I want to graph negative 2, 5. So I'm going to go left 2, up 5, put a point. And then I'm going to go left 6, down 1, put a point, and now I'm going to graph my line. Okay. And we see that it is going up and to the right, so it has a positive slope. All right, I want you to try it on your own with these two. Okay, go ahead and pause the video now. All right, let's go to the next page. Find the slope of the line. Remember, rise over run. So in this case, we're going to see what is our slope. We're going to do our rise from one point to the next and then our run. So when we do our rise and run, I like to draw on a little triangle. And I stay on what I call the roads. Those grid lines are my roads. So I'm going to rise up 1, okay, so plus 1. And then I'm going to run this way to get to that point, plus 4. So my slope, right, my rise over run was plus 1 over plus 4. I went up 1, right 4. Okay? We always want to make sure things are in simplest form. That can simplify to 1 over 4. Now something to think about, when you're going up, it's positive, down it's negative, right is positive, left is negative. So because I went up and right, everything was positive. All right, I want you to try this one on your own. You're trying to get from this point down to this point. Draw in your triangle, your rise, and your run. Go ahead and pause the video now. All right, let's take a look at our next example and see how we can find slope from a table. Slope from a table is what we call the change in y over the change in x. That little triangle symbol is called delta, and it just means the change in. So it's our change in y over the change in x. So when we're looking at a table, I'm going to start with my y values, and I'm going to see how do I get from one y value to the next. So how do I get, that didn't quite work the way I wanted it to, how do I get, there we go, that's what I wanted, from 5 to 10. And I could do that again. How do I get from 10 to 15? And from 15 to 20. So each time I had to add 5. I added 5. Add 5. Add 5. Each time I had to add 5. There was another 5 in there, I guess not. Okay, so each time I went from 5 to 10, I added 5. When I went from 10 to 15, I added 5. When I went from that 20 to 25, I added 5. 25 to 30, each time we added 5. Right? So my change in y over my change in x. All right, let's see what that change is when we do the x's. So this time, make my arrow go this way. So to get from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, what am I doing every single time? each time I'm adding 1 to it. So we can see that over here, each time we add 1. So my change in y, in this case, was I added 5 over my change in x where I added 1. I'm going to simplify that to just 5 over 1, which can simplify to just a positive 5. Right. Let's take a look at this one here and see what happens. Right. So each time, from 4 to 4 to 4 to 4 to 4, I added 0 every time. Each time I added 0. All right, well, what happens over here on my x side? Each time, to get from one x value to the next, I added 1. So when we think about what our change in y over our change in x is, I added 0, and then I added 1. Well, that simplifies to 0 over 1, which simplifies to just 0. So if all my y values are the same, we can figure out that it's a 0 slope. All right, I want you to try this one, these two problems on your own. Go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, and let's come to our last page. Now we're going to look at how we find slope when we have just 2 points. Okay? We say we're going to use what's called our slope formula, our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now when we do this, I always like to label my points. Every ordered pair has an x value and a y value, an x value and a y value. But what do these 2's and 1's mean? Well, they're just telling you which ordered pair you're pulling them from. So my first order pair would be my x1 and my y1. My second order pair I'd label as my x2 and my y2. So the 1's are telling me that it's coming from the first order pair. The 2's are just telling me that it's coming from the second ordered pair. So to do this problem, my top subtraction problem then is going to be my y2 minus my y1, my 5 minus 2. Then on the bottom, I'm going to do x2 minus x1, 3 minus negative 1. So watch out and make sure that you're doing that 3 minus negative 1. We need both. Okay. So 5 minus 2 and 3 minus negative 1. It's important that you have that negative there. All right, let's do the math. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus negative 1. Well, 3 minus negative 1 is really just saying that we have a plus sign, right? 2 negatives make a positive. So I can just switch that over to a big plus sign, and that's really just saying 3 plus 1 is 4. So we get 3 over 4. Make sure that it's in simplest form. Okay? We always should make sure that our slope is in simplest form before we move on. All right, let's try another example. All right, so once again, I'm going to label them. This is my first order pair, so I'm going to call this my x1 value and my y1 value. This is my second order pair, so I'm going to call this my x2 value and my y2 value. All right, my formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 minus y1, negative 3 minus negative 4. My x2 minus x1 is 4 minus negative 5. So I'm going to put those in. And then here I've got those double negatives again. So I am going to change them into plus signs, just to make my life a little bit easier. So now I can do the math. Negative 3 plus 4 is going to give me 1. 4 plus 5 is going to give me 9. So I end up with 1 over 9. We want to make sure that that's in simplest form. Again, nothing can divide into both 1 and 9, so we're good to go. Circle it. All right, we are down to our last 2 problems. This is the end of our video. Please make sure before you come to class next time that you complete all of your try on your own for full credit of your notes. I will see you in class.